Hi, this is Ravi Singh and welcome to another episode of ravisinghblog.in. And today in this video tutorial, I'm going to talk about why I switched from Mailchimp to Convertkit. So just to give you a background, like most of the newbie blogger, I also started my email service with Mailchimp, of course, because it's free till 2000 subscriber and you don't have to pay. And when you are new and you are learning how to blog and how to get new subscriber for your email building list, you always try to see the services which are free, of course. So Mailchimp was free, and I started my building my email list using Mailchimp. So gradually I learned new things with Mailchimp, but I also realized that if I want to take my blog to the next level, or if I want to be a professional blogger, I don't have, or Mailchimp does not have all the features which I need to automate my email services. And what I realize is I'm spending more time with my email marketing rather than focusing on the content, which is the primary job of blogger. So I was looking for something new and something which have more automation features, and then I found ConvertKit. I just gave it a trial and it worked perfectly for me. So I'm using ConvertKit from some time, and I'm really very confident. I have seen that I can create almost a fully automated campaign. Suppose like I'm organizing a webinar, or I'm giving my free ebooks to someone. It can it have a lot of features which I'm going to discuss in the video later on, but the features, the rules, the triggers, and the way we can organize a subscriber is really amazing in ConvertKit, which is not available with the Mailchimp. So what I found is, from my experience, is Mailchimp is good for the beginners, but once you learn something about email building, you need to switch to something which is slightly better, or some new feature or some advanced feature, so that you can grow your list, or you can grow your email list to the next level. You cannot continue with something which is very basic, because you want to take your blog to the next level. You want to be a professional blogger, or you want to make blog as your permanent career, not as a part-time blogger. So ConvertKit has all the features which a professional blogger need. I'm going to discuss about that. So let's get started. And I am going to discuss, my main focus is why I switched from Mailchimp to ConvertKit, what is missing in Mailchimp, and what I'm going to get in ConvertKit, which made me to make this switch. So let's get started. So let's get started and understand first that what was missing in the Mailchimp. So the first thing which I felt is very much basic in Mailchimp is the email templates. So I used to send email to my subscriber using the email template which was present in the Mailchimp. But very soon I felt that those email template were more look like a robotic, like someone some robot has created those email template, and the conversion was not that good. And I very soon realized that if I continue using those email template, I'm not going to get any conversion, and the amount of effort which you spend on your building your email list is not, you are not getting the return of the investment. So this is the first problem with the Mailchimp email template, is those are very robotic, and I realized that I have to switch to a personalized email which give me more conversion. The second issue was Mailchimp has one big list. So for every form or for every campaign you create, it is created with thinking as a big list. That's what Mailchimp has. Recently they introduced the concept of this segment, but what is missing is, within an email subscriber I can have a multiple different kind of tagging which I can do, and that will also prevent me from creating a duplicate email. For example, I have three lists, and the same person can be in three lists. He subscribed to a different using a different using the same email, he may subscribe to three lists, and then I end up paying, like, for the same subscriber I end up paying as a three subscriber. So there is no way to tag a list in Mailchimp. You have a segment, but within a segment you want to distinguish the subscriber using a tag which was not present with the Mailchimp. The third issue which I highlighted in my blog post also, is I need to create different campaigns for my email subscriber. For example, let's say I have to organize a webinar. Now there was no way to automate the complete campaign. For example, let's say I am creating a webinar registration page, and then after registration, I want to move a certain group of subscriber who actually click on the register link in the first welcome email which I sent. So those type of automation rules were not present in the Mailchimp, and this is the biggest advantage which is there in the Convertkit, which I felt is amazing, and that is must for every professional blogger, which I'm going to discuss. So So, what was the problem? The biggest problem was there was no automation, and the second thing is I want to organize more webinar, or I want to create a sub campaign within a campaign. I want to move my subscriber to one list to another list based on certain condition. Those things were not present in the Mailchimp, and very soon I realized that I need to switch to some other email service which provide more advanced feature, and that's where the Convertkit comes into the picture, which I'm going to discuss now. That what are the features of Convertkit which was not present in the Mailchimp, and that almost forced me to move to the Convertkit. Let's see that. So the first thing which I found in Convertkit, which suddenly took my attention, is their personal attention to every customer. So when I first got the first month subscription for the Convertkit, and I signed up for their services, there was an email which came which asked me to verify myself before they enable sending email features on my Convertkit account. That is really amazing, because most of the time what happens is someone sign up on Convertkit and they start sending a spam email. So this personal attention of Convertkit to my account shows that they are trusted company, and they will not allow anyone without a verification to go ahead and start sending emails. So they want some information from me before enable that, or before approving my email sending feature, which I really like, because that's how things work in a trusted company. So that's really grab my attention, and I really like that. Though it's not a very big features, but it's not a very big feature, but again it's a sign that you are sign up for a trusted company. The second feature which really impressed me, which everything is very much organized in Convertkit. Now what does that mean? It means that there is a set of steps which you need to follow to for example, if you see my screen here, it says create a form, then embed the form on your site. So everything is in a sequence, so that a new person which is really not that much familiar with the email building, they can also understand what they need to do. So it's something which, once you sign up for the Convertkit, you understand that there is a sequence, there is a steps which is already defined, which is already implemented by top bloggers, and they are doing very well. So you need to follow the steps, and that makes it very easy to use. That's again the second feature which says that Convertkit is very easy to use. It's actually built up for the customer who are very new to email building, and that's really I like, because even though I have some experience with email building, but someone who don't have, they also feel it very easy to use. I'm also going to show you a demo in the session further in the video, but for now I will show you the screen, and then I will show you a live demo later on. The third feature which is also makes very a good impression is they do not have the templates, the email template which I described Mailchimp have. So every email which you draft in Convertkit is personalized email. You have to create that personalized email, and that's very important, because I already tried different type of email template. They don't convert. Only personalized email with your own text, or the way you write an email to a person one to one, that's how it works. So Convertkit in a way forces you to create only personalized email and no templates. That's very nice. You can get some email example from the web or from the Google, but always when you start sending or when you start creating a draft version of the email, always make it personal, and that's what they have. The second feature which is within this feature is they have option to personalize a particular email. For example, suppose you have an opt-in box where you ask the user name and the email, because of course the name is not a mandatory field sometime. So a user may have subscribed to your blog using just the email ID. So they have a formula or they have a way where you can you know if they have a name available, so you can address them hi, for example John Doe. So you can write hi John Doe. If they do not have the name they have given during the subscription, you can replace that with something like hey there or hi, something like that. So there is an option to personalize the email with name or without name. That is really good, and which I didn't find in the Mailchimp. So this is really good, where you can create a personalized email with the customer and see how it is getting converted. So it's very important, and ConvertKit also forces you to create only personalized email. This feature really makes it different from the other email marketing services. The next feature I'm going to discuss about is the full automation. Now this is amazing, right? This is the feature for which I subscribe to ConvertKit, which is not there at all in Mailchimp. Or if there is very initial stages, which will not give you more flexibility what you need. So, for example, when I talk about automation, is something which is once you create automation first time, you just need to sit and focus on your content, not on your email marketing. That automation will take care of all the features end to end. Now, let me give an example of automation. Suppose I've given the example earlier, I'm organizing a webinar. Now, I want to create a rule or a automation rule where, first time when I send, I'll create a landing page for the webinar and, ask user to subscribe to that webinar. Now, once they subscribe, I should then send the second welcome letter only to those email subscribers who actually registered to that. So I will create an automation rule, something like if the user clicked on that link or if the user subscribed to the course or to the webinar, then only I will send the second email. I will move those subscriber or I will tag those subscriber, and then based on that tag only I will send that email to the second group of the user. Now after that I will also send something like a next email or a next course, and once a user click on that link, then I will move them to a different tag, and then I will send a different email to that group of user. So those type of complex automation can also be done with the ConvertKit, which is not possible with the Mailchimp. And this is very important feature. If you see the screenshot which I have given in the post, where I mentioned like they have trigger and the action. So there could be different kind of trigger which can happen once a user take action on the email. Based on that, you can create an action. And this is a very important feature. And if you are really serious about the blogging, you have to have this feature in your email marketing service. This is amazing, and I'm going to show a demo also later in the video, but for now you have to have this feature before you selecting any email services. Now let's see some other features of ConvertKit which impressed me a lot. The fourth feature or the fourth reason why I switched from Mailchimp to ConvertKit is the tagging of the subscriber. This is very important, though it's a very small term look like. This looks to be very small, but it's very important. Now, once you create a list, what you call in Mailchimp is a list or a subscriber list, you have to have a way to categorize the user. Now in Mailchimp we have only segment, but in the ConvertKit we have tag plus segment. Now if you are wondering what is a tag, it's look complex, but it's very simple. Tagging is something by which you can subcategorize the user. For example, as I described earlier, you can have a list of users who subscribed for your webinar session, but once a user click on any particular link in the welcome email you send, which is different from the registration, you can tag those users and create a some kind of separate list within a list. and the next time, based on that tag, you can trigger some other letter to them. So it's a very good way to tag the user, as a list can have a more than one tag, and that tag can be further used to create some other action. So I will describe the tag, and I will also show you a demo later how it works. But this feature is really super, and this feature is going to define the future of the email marketing. And of course, ConvertKit already adapt that, and if you are using ConvertKit or you're planning to use, you really will see the difference what tag can make. Now after tag, there is a last feature which is really impressive, is the custom broadcast. Now broadcast feature is there in other email services also, but they broadcast that particular email or message to everyone in the group. Even broadcast can be customized in ConvertKit, which is amazing. So as I discussed, you can filter the user based on the location, subscriber list, or a form, or a tag, or a sequence. Sequence is something which I will discuss further. But for now, sequence, you can understand, it's something like you can create an email, the first welcome email, or any email which you create. So based on any of these filter, you can broadcast something to the entire group. Now, for example, suppose you have trying to create, or you have created one more blog which is kind of a child blog for the parent blog, and you want to send that blog link or that blog information to a certain group of subscribers. You can broadcast. For example, if you created 4 lists, you can send that broadcast to all 4 lists, to the entire group, or based on the tagging or based on the form, you can select that email to a particular session or a particular group of the user, which is really a good feature. I'm going to show you a demo of that also. So these features which I discussed, these five features really are very strong reason why I switched to ConvertKit, and I'm really feeling the difference. My email list is slowly start growing, which was very stagnant when I was with the Mailchimp, and I really like their services. And it is slightly difficult to use in the beginning, but as you adapt to ConvertKit, this is how all the future email marketing services is going to move. So uh, really, ConvertKit has already adapted most of the feature, and this impressed me a lot. I'm going to now talk about a demo of all the features which ConvertKit has and why it is different. So let's go ahead and see how ConvertKit demo actually works. So now let's see the demo of the ConvertKit and how it actually works. What are the different features, as I discussed the main features and why I switched to ConvertKit. But now let's see a demo and the actual screen of the ConvertKit to understand whether it actually works up to the expectation or not. So the first thing on the top menu, what you'll see is the forms. Actually, the whole ConvertKit is divided into 5 main menu or option, you can say: forms, automation, sequence, broadcast, and subscriber. So now let's first see about the form. So form is very simple, and you must have used it with most of the email services. Form is something like the form which you can create to actually get the email subscriber of the opt-in. Now there are two kinds of form can be. It can be a landing page, or it can be a simple opt-in form. So let's start with a very simple opt-in form and how we can create it. So you need to go to the form and create new form, and this is very simple form we can see on a lot of the blogging site and website. So you can always customize by changing the text or buttons and all the things, which is very basic. What I would like to show you is, first of all, is the setting. So setting is something which is like how your form behaves on different situation. So these are the something which is very basic setting which you can do For example, what will happen when someone will subscribe, or whether you want the landing page to be hosted on the ConvertKit. Now, there is a very good concept of incentive email. Now, incentive email is something which you want to use when you want a subscriber to have a double opt-in. For example, they will subscribe and then you will send them a welcome email saying that thank you very much for subscribing, and click on this link to confirm your subscription. This is of course optional, but if you want, you can have that. Is very good way to get the opt-in. It's you can say it's a tried and tested way of getting a subscriber to get their consent. Now of course you can change the style, what kind of style of form you need, and how you want to embed. For example, sometimes you need a JavaScript, or if you have a WordPress, you'll directly click on the WordPress and install their plugin, and then you can directly import the form from your ConvertKit account to your WordPress blog. Different kind of form integration. So you have Unbounce and Insta Pages. Right now, you have only these two form enabled, where you can use their form to build ConvertKit opt-in. There are some other option which is very easy to understand, and you can see it by yourself. So the first thing you'll see in the subscriber list is segment and tags. So if you can see here on the right hand side, we have two things. First one is segment and another one is tag. So when you have a list of email subscriber, within a subscriber you can have a segment. Segment actually let you group subscriber together for the broadcast purpose, but tags is something which is to distinguish a particular set of user within a list. So for example, if I have a 133 subscriber here in this particular list, I can have, for example, I have created two tags. One is iOS, where I have 2 subscriber, and another one is sales, where I have a 10 subscriber. So this is the way which you can tag a particular user to trigger some action, which I'm going to discuss again soon. But for now, you can understand tag is something which is within a list to trigger some action. Based on a tag, you can move the subscriber to a different group, or you can send them an email, or you can do some other action. Now we are done with the forms and subscriber. Let's go to the automation, which is the biggest feature of ConvertKit, which makes it something which is very much different from Mailchimp, which Mailchimp cannot provide you at all. Now, when I talk about the automation, there are two kind of automation exist in a particular ConvertKit account. One is the automation which is visual automation. Visual automation is something which is you'll feel like it's very easy to understand. The second one is rules, which I'm going to discuss very soon. But let's see the visual automation first. So let me open this visual automation which I have created. Now, how visual automation works is the entry point and the exit point of the automation. So the entry point will be the form. For example, I have created a form one, which is just the form which I've shown you. A simple, a kind of newsletter sign up form. So this is the starting point. A user will subscribe, and then you will decide that what you want to do. You'll click this plus sign to create different action based on the subscription of the user. For example, here, once through a form one, certain users subscribe to my form, what the action I want to take. Now what I can do is, immediately once a user joined, for example, I have a webinar registration page and a user subscribe to my registration, I can create a tag. Now what is the tag? A tag can be something like user registered to my webinar. Once you do that, once you assign a tag to the user, the next action what you can do is, you can create one more action based on some condition. For example, here I can say if the user has a tag called iOS, or suppose a user can have a tag called subscribe to my webinar, I can create one more action saying that move this subscriber to a different list. First list was the person who all opt in for my page. The second subscriber list is someone or the group of the user who actually subscribed to my webinar. So this way you can create a different set of automation for a particular campaign. Now, this is a very basic campaign example I have given. You can create very complex kind of campaign where you can even mention that if someone clicked any particular link on your in your email, what action you want to take, and there this feature comes in, which is create rules. Now, let's see the how rules work. So, as I told you, visual automation is something which is very easy to understand. Even these rules are something which is very specific, and you want more detail. For example, I want to create a trigger where if someone clicks a link, now suppose you want this name is optional, but this destination URL which is there in the URL in the email which you send first time or maybe second time, you want to move a particular user to a different list. Or if someone click on that link saying that I'm interested, for example, a user click that I'm also interested in your second course, based on that you can create another email. So as you can see, this rule automation is can be used to create very complex kind of situation, or you can create a multiple and an or condition. For example, here I can say if someone click, for example, I have a URL in my form, and if someone clicks on that in the email which I sent earlier, I want to add a tag. This tag I can call it iOS tag. After that, you can create one more and or condition. For example, if the user also I have two link in my email which I sent. So if the user click on the second link, for example, you can say abc1.com. If user clicked on this link also, I want to create something else. You can create some other action. So based on these two, any of the event takes place, you can create an action. So you can see I'm creating a very complex situation, and then I'm taking action on based on that situation. So these type of complex automation can be easily achieved with a ConvertKit, and that's what ConvertKit. With ConvertKit, you cannot even imagine what type of situation we can create and achieve those email related things. For example, now here is the second situation which I wanted to discuss is I'm sending a PDF or a free book to my user based on a group of user clicked on my opt-in and went through my opt-in. Now within that email, I am requesting to send them a video course. Now if they click on that link to subscribe to my video course, I will trigger one more email. As you can see, they mention that email as a sequence, which I'm going to explain very soon. Sequence is something which is like sending an email to the user. So a blogger or any website owner can have a very complex type of situation. All those situations can be easily achieved using ConvertKit, and that's what makes ConvertKit totally different. Now I explained the automation, I explained the forms, I explained the subscriber. Now let's see what is sequence. A sequence is something which is a way of sending email to the user. Now let's create on the create sequence and name it as a test. Let me show you how it works. So a sequence is something which is a set of the email which you send to the user. Now I can create any number of email. You can see here, if you can see my screen here, everything is a way of creating personalized email. There is no email template, and creating an email is very much similar to the way we write in Gmail. And ConvertKit want you or forces you to create only personalized email, which is very important because these email only converts. Now, as I discussed earlier in my session, saying that you can create a very personalized email, let me show you how. Now, click on this personalized email, and there is an option called subscribe name with fallback. Now, what is this? It says that if you do not have the subscriber first name available, you can just say hello, or I can also write here, hey there. So that means if I have a person called first name as John and last name as a Doe, I can say hi John, or if I don't have his name, I will just say hey there. So you can see how personalized email can be. You don't have to write hi, just a common word, and sending that to everyone. Or sometimes we can see even some garbage value going in the name field. All those things can be taken care easily using ConvertKit. They have a tons of way to personalize the email. Of course, you can have a subscribe email address if you want to mention it somewhere. You have a name option. So you can of course have the option to insert image or link or whatever you want to do with the email. So you can set a different set of emails. You can create any number of email. You want to send a follow-up email, or different kind of sequence you can create. A sequence is a something which will go one by one to the user based on certain condition. You also have a filter option here. Remember, I told you you can add filter. For example, you want to send the first follow-up or a second follow-up email only to the cold subscriber who are not responding. Cold subscriber is someone who is not opening the email, or they are not even clicking on the link. So they are not opening, so definitely they are not clicking any link. So based on these conditions also you can create a sequence. And of course you have the option to tags and forms. So if you already tag a user, tag a group of the subscriber list, you can only send these sequence to them. So you can see here how easy it is to manage set of emails in ConvertKit. You can group a sequence together, you can create a sequence, or you can create a different kind of sequence for different kind of trigger you want to use. Now these trigger will be used in the automation. Now you understood what is sequence. So in automation, if you can come in the rule, I can show you where we can use sequence. So for example, here I am saying the trigger is when someone complete a sequence. So for example, I created a test sequence earlier. So if someone complete this sequence, or someone, that sequence is complete, that for example I created 3 sets of email, and once that is complete, I want to tag the user. What I will say, user has received all the 3 email which I sent earlier, and now I want to tag user saying that my email flow has been completed. Or if user click a link within the email, for example you have certain email, for example url.com, there is a link in my email, and once the user click on that link, I want to create one more sequence, or I want him to subscribe to a sequence. So now you can see how we are switching from one phase or one step to another step. We can create a very complex kind of situation in ConvertKit using this trigger rule, or using this trigger and action kind of thing, which really makes it very special. So you can see overall these forms, automation, sequence, broadcast, and subscriber, these are the main building blocks of ConvertKit, and you can create a very complex situation, or you can achieve a very complex situation using these options. So you can see ConvertKit is, in the beginning you may feel it's slightly difficult to understand, but they have lot of documentation, they have a very good support. What I felt, they regularly send you email about their tutorials. They have a lot of videos also available on their support website. You can go through that. Once you understand it, how ConvertKit works, you are going to create amazing things using this automation and sequence. And one more important thing is, compared to Mailchimp, ConvertKit is not free. So remember, Mailchimp is free up to 2000 subscriber, ConvertKit is not. So to start ConvertKit, or to sign up for the ConvertKit, uh, they have a 14 days trial, for which I've given the link below in the video description. But their services start from $29 a month, which is like up to 1000 subscribers, so it's not cheaper. This is one, I will not say issue, but this is something uh, which maybe a newbie blogger feel like, why I need to pay money when I don't know. But if you're already using Mailchimp and you have some idea about building email list, I think it's a good time that you should switch to ConvertKit, where you have more features, you have you know uh, a better automation rule, a better sequence, a better way to broadcast message to your subscriber. Of course, if you want to take your blog to the next level, or you want to be a professional blogger, you have to have ConvertKit, or a service, email service which has something more to offer than Mailchimp. And as ConvertKit also mentioned in their website, that their services is for professional blogger who takes their blog very seriously, and they want to take it to the next level, or they want to make it as a full-time career option. So if you are still stuck with Mailchimp and you want to make a difference with your email building list, it's a good time to switch to ConvertKit, which has, of course, more to offer. They, of course, are not very cheap. You have to pay, but every penny is worth in ConvertKit, and I am feeling that I'm going to continue using ConvertKit. They have a lot of things to offer, and I'm looking forward to ConvertKit. And I hope this little video help you to understand how ConvertKit work and why I switch from Mailchimp to ConvertKit. If you have any issue understanding how ConvertKit works, and or if you are feeling any difficulty in setting up the ConvertKit, please do write to me using the comment section, or you can also use the contact page of ravisinghblog.in. I'm always available there, and I will reply to your email. If you like my video, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, and of course, if you like the ConvertKit review, I would love if you buy from my affiliate link, which is given below the video description. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.